we're not done yet. We've done a lot to get here. We've kind of been doing things as we go, and we will continue to do that as we go.
Is Aaron Rodgers the MVP? Aaron's our guy. Damian Woody, good to see you, sir. We'll get to you in just a minute. But Stephen A., should Rodgers want to finish his career with Green Bay?
Absolutely believe he should want to finish his career at Green Bay. And that's not, I want to be very, very clear because Damian Woody has brought this up on several occasions in the past. Aaron Rodgers shouldn't be completely absolved from Green Bay having not won a championship since 2010. He's been a quarterback that entire time. They've gone to a few NFC championship games, but have not gotten over the hump. That's on him to some degree. No question about that. But he's carried this franchise on his shoulders for many years. And I think that when you look at it from strictly a football perspective, certainly you can make the argument he shouldn't want to go anywhere. They've gotten back-to-back 13-3 seasons with back-to-back appearances in the NFC Championship game. You're in a position to compete for the championship. We get all of that. And because of that, that's what it's about. It's about football. But it's not just about football with Aaron Rodgers. It's about the manner in which he was treated. And I think that when you get to a certain point in your career, when you've established your level of greatness on a Hall of Fame level, and you're basically told to shut up, we run the organization, you just go play. And to know that there are a plethora of options out there that would treat you significantly better as a star, as a future Hall of Famer, and as a human being than the Green Bay Packers have purportedly treated him in the past, I do believe that it's time for him to go somewhere else where he could feel better appreciated and enjoy the twilight of his career. I do believe of all the things he could learn from Tom Brady, that's one of the top things he could learn from Tom Brady.
Although the difference between Aaron Rodgers and Tom Brady is Tom Brady didn't have any weapons. Like you could see that, and Cam didn't have it the following year.
Brady
He went to a place. He went to a place with a ton of weapons. Made a football decision. I was surprised. Tampa. Tom Brady really is just trying to win a Super Bowl. It's not about just building TB12, or if it is about that, he's smart because he's going to do it as a winner, right? The difference is Aaron Rodgers is on one of the best teams in football right now. Now, is he a big part of that? He is. But the Packers are really good on both sides of the ball, and presuming they don't draft another quarterback, which would be monumentally stupid, right? Presuming that they saw something in Jordan Love that they believe is going to be the next great quarterback, and that's why instead of getting Rodgers more help, they drafted for the future. Presuming that, why would Aaron Rodgers leave? I can't really look around and say, boy, that's a better situation than the Packers. You mentioned it, 13 wins, in 2 consecutive seasons. And, by the way, beat Seattle in the playoffs year 1 with a head coach he's just getting to know and a system he's just getting to know. MVP year 2, 13 wins, NFC Championship game with a chance to go to, and given what the Chiefs' offensive line looked like in the Super Bowl, win the Super Bowl year 2. They're live to win the Super Bowl again this year. Especially after this upcoming draft, I'm anticipating I'll like the Packers best in the NFC. So unless you're talking about a place like San Francisco, which I think is actually very similar in terms of the quality of the team to the Packers, unless he gets to go back home, basically. If there's something like that, okay. Otherwise, I think that he should, if he can, end his career with the Packers, where I believe he has a really good chance to win another Super Bowl.
Yeah, listen, I tend to agree with Max here. Listen, I'll throw out another team that maybe I could see Aaron Rodgers go to. New Orleans Saints. That could be a possible destination. But I don't think the pastures are always greener on the other side. And when you look at the Green Bay Packers and what they've been able to do over the past 2 years, go to back-to-back NFC Championship games. I mean, that's a really big feat. And Aaron Rodgers, who's coming off an MVP type of season, I tend to look at, okay, if Aaron Rodgers wants to win a championship, what's the best place to do it? When you look at the NFC, particularly the NFC North, okay, Aaron Rodgers is the best QB in that division by far. The easiest way to get into the postseason is by winning your division. So Aaron Rodgers, just by being in Green Bay, is going to automatically have a leg up into, possibly trying to get back to a Super Bowl. This team is stacked. They got an ability to add more to that roster. And I just think that Aaron Rodgers right now, if his goal is to win a Super Bowl, there's no better place to do it than right there in Green Bay.
Listen, conceivably, he's not going to be let go or anything like that. But you know what? I wouldn't mind seeing Aaron Rodgers in New Orleans, particularly that Drew Brees has tried. I mean, that's not going to happen. Again, we all know these things are not going to happen. But when we talk about seeing him, there's a plethora of players. Or what if Aaron Rodgers was in San Francisco? What if he were in New Orleans? What if he were in Pittsburgh? What if he were several places? I think you could look at Aaron Rodgers and say, excuse me, this brother can do it for you. That's number one. Number two, here's the deal. As recently as last month, if I remember correctly, Mark Murphy, the president and CEO of the Green Bay Packers, refused to comment at a press conference. I think it was right after the 17th game added to an NFL season was announced, guys, and he refused to comment. And he didn't want to talk about whether they were going to restructure the deal or whatever the case may be. And there was no commitment to Aaron Rodgers beyond next season. This brother is fresh off of completing 70% of his passes, 48 touchdowns, 5 interceptions, and a league MVP. And essentially, he may have one more year with the Green Bay Packers. All the things that y'all are saying from a football perspective, to lean on you, Max, and specifically for this conversation, you, D. Woody, can you explain that? How the man is fresh off an MVP, universally recognized as one of the top 2 or 3 quarterbacks in the game of football, clearly with more time ahead, and there is no commitment past next season. Damian Woody, could you explain that?
Well,
go ahead, Max. Go ahead.
Well, I would say this, Stephen A. I think that was their plan originally based on when LaFleur came in, the way he looked year one. It looked like he'd regressed, maybe or was getting older. I'll bet you they're reconsidering those plans right now based on how he just looked. And, when they got rid of Brett Favre, it's because they had Aaron Rodgers. Unless Jordan Love is another Brett Favre or Aaron Rodgers, the way the Green Bay Packers front office is speaking now, it sounds to me like they'd like to make a deal, and the question is, what does Rodgers? That's what it sounds like to me.
Is somebody willing to entertain the possibility this ain't just about football with them either? Because that's where I'm going.
Well, and listen, it could be. It could be. Aaron Rodgers could be looking past his football career. But here's what I'm going to say to you, Stephen A. Aaron Rodgers, by the way he's playing, Aaron Rodgers is going to leave on his terms. Okay, he's going to force the Packers' hand. Because if you're playing an MVP type level, which he won this past season, there's absolutely no reason for you to turn the page to Jordan Love to be the next quarterback. If Aaron Rodgers keep playing this level, hell, he might even force the Green Bay Packers to trade Jordan Love in the process.
All right. Let's keep it rolling, guys. A couple more debates we want to get to before we say goodbye. It's time for our NFL Draft. What's the preview of the 2021 NFL Draft? That's 2 days away. Let's look at the Cleveland Browns. Cleveland with the 26th overall pick, projected by Todd McShay to select defensive end Kwity Paye out of Michigan to add to that impressive defense headlined by Myles Garrett and Jadeveon Clowney. In a press conference, quarterback Baker Mayfield spoke about the Browns' identity on offense.